now.
Nice.
So I would like to kind of dive into this film of Rico Flores and just kind of break his game down a little bit. And I'd like to start with this game right here this is against De La Salle. So I want to watch the De La Salle film, Ryan, and we'll just kind of show what we're talking about. Because again, I don't care a ton about competition in regards to, I'm not going to ding a kid for not playing great competition, but I like watching a kid when they do play against good competition. It just gives you lets you see kind of what they can do. And so let's dive a little bit to Rico Flores. You're going to see him here. He's the team in white. Folsom is the road team here. This route alone just kind of shows you this is a kid that understands manipulating speed to try to get free, stacks the guy up, tracks the ball well. Watch when he looks back for the ball, you see him slightly slow down, but then he immediately starts to accelerate and really tracks the deep ball extremely well. He catches the ball very, very well. His ball skills, Ryan, are really, really impressive.
Yeah, I just love how he stacks guys, man. He understands that, like, I need to use their momentum against them, right? And he just does a beautiful job of that consistently on film.
Does a great job staying level here. He doesn't drift upfield on this in cut, catches the ball and takes a shot, but he hangs onto the ball.
And that's why I think, yeah, and that's why I think he could play a little bit in the slot, man. He's got some toughness to him, and I think he's got like a sturdiness. I don't think he's going to create like a ton of explosive plays, but I think he's just going to be that kid that you can depend on in the slot.
I've had a couple people I know say that they think that I underrate his athleticism, and that could be. And maybe he's one of those guys that he's just so smooth that I don't see the explosiveness as to what's there. This is a really nice stop and cut. Really sinks those hips well there. Makes that catch. He's in a lot of traffic there, Ryan.
I know. He's a fluid kid, man. He's gets in and out of breaks pretty well. I like how he sets things up.
Sells this deep route really well. Like this corner is absolutely sold that it's going to be a go route. I mean, and then you see the ball skills. Really nice. I mean, it's against De La Salle. I mean, you know what I mean? Like this is a really good football team. He's playing both ways. Look at that football IQ there. Look at him read the quarterback. He knows, and I don't know if this is the quarterback. It doesn't look like him physically, but De La Salle's quarterback signed with Michigan State. I don't know if that's him in this particular film, or maybe he didn't play this game, or he was out at that point in time, but he was a really good football player. Love the stalk. Look at that stalk block technique, though. You're talking about being fundamentally – the kid's even fundamentally sound as a blocker. Look at that. Eats up the cushion, gets downfield, because in stalk blocking, ideally against off coverage, you want to engage that guy as far downfield as possible.
Oh, for sure.
Look at this. I thought it looks like he's running a route. Like he comes off the line like he's running a route. Gets that corner to sink, stalk, and then just bam. I love that. I love that competitiveness, but also the technique is just really excellent. That's him going against Cooper.
Oh, yeah, it is. You're right. Good call.
Look at him taking on a 6'5", 240-pound tight end. I love that competitiveness. Love that competitiveness. Look at this release. This is great. Look at this hard outside jab to get that corner opened up, and then just comes right in. That's better than what kids at Notre Dame were doing last year, which is great for Rico, but also an indictment of how poorly coached the Notre Dame receivers were last year.
Yep. Again, if we're talking about him as a potential slot at points, I think, and I love that stem, by the way, on that last one. Kind of sets him up outside, but you see there's just a sturdiness working inside, and he's not going to make guys miss a ton, but he's a guy that's like, he's a north-south runner after he gets the football. He's like, I'm taking it right there. Right. I'm getting what I can get out of it. And
it's the difference, right? It's the difference between like a college spread slot, which is Amari Rodgers, right? It's guys like that. It's Caleb Brown, who I absolutely loved in last year's class from Chicago. And then there's the pro style slots, which is what we're talking about with Rico Flores, and to a degree, Mylan Graham. This is his junior film in general. Just let me make sure it's highest res. Okay, it is. So this is a little bit of Rico's junior film. You can kind of see, again, this shows he's a good athlete, but this isn't like, to me, I just don't see like super, super burner explosive, but good athleticism and a great feel for the game. Just a tremendous feel for the game as a player.
Now he's going to win. He's going to win because I think he can win down the field a little bit, but I think it's much more going to be about
This stuff right
how to
here.
set stuff up. Yeah, exactly.
This is a great example, Ryan. Talk them through this route and to show this is what we're talking about. Because the top end's the final. Let me explain this. So there's three different parts of a route that get you to your final breaking point. There's the stance and start, which is one, right? Like it's how quickly, how efficiently you get off the ball. That's where he's at right now. This is what we call the stem, right? And the stem is essentially it's the period where you're releasing off the ball to get to the top of your route. You have your, it's like, so if I'm running a 10-yard curl route, the stem is that from the release to the top to that 10-yard mark where you're going to then make your break. What you do with that stem is very important, and that's what a lot of young receivers miss. And there's two things that I always taught my receivers. Number one is you almost always, the rule was always, but then I would teach the exceptions. You always attack the leverage of a defender. If he's playing you inside, there's a reason. You want to attack the area that he's trying to take away from you to get him to overreact to that. And then you want to attack the outside shoulder. And so this is something a lot of receivers just kind of release vertical. Or if a guy's inside, they'll say, well, he's taking that away. I'll just release outside. That's what he wants you to do. What I like about him is that he understands the importance of all aspects of that. So the stance, start, stem, just kind of, so the point is, and then you get to the top end. The top end is the move you make to get into and out of your cut. That's the top end. So I want people to understand that. A lot of players, Ryan, the focus is on the top end, and they don't put enough emphasis on the other part. So I want you to break this route down now that we've identified the terms and explain to people why it may not look like much, but why this is such a really good route and shows an understanding of how to play by Rico Flores.
Yeah. Well, you see off the line of scrimmage, no wasted movement, no false steps, gets in. You see how he attacked outside leverage there. You see the cornerback is playing him on the inside, just playing him to the outside. When he is able to make his stem to force him to the outside, you see how the corner overreacts and kind of vacates his leverage, and that allows Rico to run right past him for the deep post route here.
Once that guy kind of flips his hips like that, Rico knows he's got him beat.
It's over.
The other key is what a lot of receivers will do is the moment he flips his hips, they then react and go. What Rico does here that I like too, Ryan, is he continues to eat up the cushion. He doesn't make his break inside. He knows the guy's beat, but you got to stay patient with your technique. He gets inside and then he outruns the guy. Because if you break to the post and he's still flipping his hips, this guy has no chance. No chance. And that's also how separation gets created. It's not just with raw speed. It's if you can get a guy going one way and you're going the other way, guess what? I'm going to win that battle. You know what I mean? So, and you absolutely see that here from Rico.
And that's a perfect example too, Brian, because it's like that play, it's good solid speed. Like it's good, but the reason that he was able to create that much separation was not because of his just straight line speed. It was the fact that he understood how to set him up.
This is example of him getting to top speed in a hurry. And that's one thing he does really well. It doesn't like Will Fuller was a 4.32, but he needed a few steps to kind of get going. Once he got going, but whoo boy. But Rico gets to full speed like now. And this corner is like not expecting him to get on him that quickly. Really late reacting because of how quickly he gets on him.
He tracks that one really well too down the field.
He does that extremely well.
That's not an easy one. Over the shoulder like that, it's not easy.
And he doesn't slow down. He really doesn't slow down. It's one of the things I had to teach college receivers. One of the things they would hear me say about as much as anything else was accelerate through the look back. Because what happens is when guys look back for the ball, they have a tendency to slow down. It's just your body's automatic reaction. So you have to emphasize, accelerate through the look back. And I think Rico does a really nice job of that. This is really good ball skills right here. Route wasn't quite as crisp, but really, really good. This is a good one too. He knows so what he knows right now, Ryan, he knows this is probably cover 2, right? So you've watched the film. You see this pure cover 2 a lot more in high school than you do in college, but he knows the guy's going to play him outside. So he just widens the guy out with that first release, gets that guy jumping, gets inside of him. But when he gets inside, look what he does. He gets back outside. What a lot of players will do is when they make this inside move right here, so he's kind of on the outside part of the numbers. Well, in cover 2, this corner wants to funnel you back inside to his help. So you've got this guy right here is a hook curl player. So if you're going to run a hook or a curl, he's going to play it. This guy's playing the post. This corner is basically playing the flats, and he's protecting against outside cuts. He has help inside. He's okay with you releasing inside. Well, what a lot of receivers will do is they'll take that free release. So he makes his jab, and then when they get inside, he'll stay kind of on the inside of these numbers. But what Rico does a nice job of here, Ryan, is he will take the inside release, but then you'll see him immediately start to widen back out with a stem to the point where when the ball comes, he's back outside. Now the ball takes him back inside. But look, he's now at the bottom of the numbers again. And that just shows me a kid that understands the need for spacing. Because if you start getting too far inside, the safety becomes a player. Now, this worked in high school, but in college, this ball might get picked off because the quarterback threw it too far inside. But that wasn't because of Rico. Rico got himself back outside because you want as much distance from the safety as possible. And he does a really, really nice job with that.
Yep.
Really nice job with that.
Another nice adjustment down the field. Another ball that's not very easy to catch.
He tracks it really, really well, Ryan. And this isn't a great route. I think this guy's inside of him. I like to see him kind of squeeze down on him, then stem him back up. But he does use his hands well there to get over top. But I just love that. I love the concentration on the football is really what I like. We saw that one earlier. Saw the De La Salle stuff. I love the fact, too, that even in high school, he plays all over. He plays boundary, he plays field, he plays slot. Nice focus there. He climbs a little bit more than I'd like to see him climb, which allows that corner to undercut him a little bit. I'd like him to kind of level that off just a little bit more. This guy right here doesn't threaten him. He doesn't need to climb over top of that guy as much as he does, but he still does a great job of focusing on the ball and bringing it in.
Yeah, he's got really solid hands overall. Not even solid, just good hands.
Yeah, really good hands. Yeah. Some more De La Salle stuff. Yeah. Now here he is as the slot in a 3x1. This is what we're talking about. Like, does a nice job of just quickly getting that guy to release, flip his hips, gets back inside. Great concentration on the ball.
It's a great release.
Yeah,
great release.
Really smart, savvy kid.
And you saw how he kind of widened his angle a little bit on that last one too to get over top of the linebacker to get into space.
It's a great route. Sells that post effectively. Gets a little high at the top, but I mean, against the junior high school, it's a great route for junior high school. But look how he uses his head to really kind of, you see him snap his head in the opposite direction. He's doing all the tricks to try to get that kid to bite. This kid really knows how to play the game. He's a really savvy football player. Look at him getting inside. He sees zone. He's got to work inside on an end cut. So he's got to work. Now he's more worried about this guy on this end cut. He's playing off of this guy, not the corner. So He is attacking the stem of the defender, and he sees that the guy widens out. He flips inside of him, finds that zone, and catches the football.
He also delayed his break a little bit on that last one to make sure the linebacker climbed with him so they can cut across his face. If he cuts a little bit too early, then you're going to cut right into the linebacker's leverage, and it's a no play.
And you give your route away.
Yep.
Really nice release again. Get that sucker outside, bam, widen him. And the reason this is important, because he could take an inside. This corner's not really taking the outside away that well. He could get a relatively clean inside release by squeezing down inside. But the problem is once you do that, you're now running into these guys, right? By keeping that distance off the edge, you get into a situation where you're able to keep that distance and that space from the inside because you got to stay away from those guys. His body language as a receiver is great, meaning there's a lot of it. I like that. I actually kind of like those guys that are naturally kind of use their head and their shoulders and things like that to get open. Really nice catch there. It's a nice back shoulder. It's not a great ball. Actually, it is a great ball because if he leads him here, I didn't see that safety coming to the mix at the last second. So this is a nice ball. Rico does a great job of getting around to it. This kid can play. This is really savvy. Look at him coming level there, Ryan. Doesn't drift. Really comes level. He starts to it. I thought he was going to drift at first. Kind of rounds this off a lot, and then he levels off and goes and makes the play.
Some easy flexibility to him as a route runner too. Like he's very technically sound. He kind of, he's got the understanding of how to run routes, and he's also flexible enough to do everything that he needs to do. Strong hands.
It's another really good route. He's just getting these kids thinking, I'm going to go here, and then he doesn't.
This is the kind of kid too, where although he's not, I mean, he's, listed at like 6'1", 190. So he's probably actually around 6 footish, whatever. But he's the type of kid where, although he's not the biggest kid in the world, he could be a red zone weapon because he just makes guys look silly in man-to-man coverage near the end zone. You know?
Yep. He's got really quick hands. You can see it there. Just gets the hands up quickly, snatches that ball out. Strong hands. He's caught a couple balls like this that are high and hot. That's the hardest pass to catch in football, in my opinion. The high heat from a short distance is because it gets on you so quickly, and you have nothing but your hands to use to catch the ball. Really nice catch. This is really good because this corner shows really good patience. Like, this corner's not giving away, not overreacting to the first move like other guys. And Rico shows some patience on his own. Then he gets vertical, widens back out, and then breaks inside. And he could stem it out a little bit more, but he also, like you said, Ryan, he doesn't fly inside. Look how slow he is out of his break. That's on purpose.
It's pacing. Yep.
Yes, because if he comes screaming out of there, like you mentioned earlier, he's running right into that linebacker.
He has a good understanding of space and pacing into his routes. Not everything has to be full speed. You have to understand, what leverage am I attacking? Where's the open space? How quickly are defenders going to get there? There's a lot to it.
Look how many dudes there are that he gets between. It's like 4 dudes up in the first level, and then there's another guy coming over top. Really savvy player. Again, not the athlete maybe some of these other guys are, but you're talking about a kid that knows how to play the game of football. This kid, he's, in my opinion, even more so than Jaden Greathouse, I think he's the most polished receiver on the board right now.
It's fair.
I think Jaden's able to get away with things because he's so big that Rico can't. But as far as just pure polish, he's extremely polished. I love the fact that he plays defense too.
I do too. I mean, is there going to be anybody, if Rico Flores does end up with Notre Dame, is there anybody on the roster or coming in that's going to have a better release packages than he does right now? I mean,
no. It just depends on how quickly he does show some nice. This is a nice turn. Like, this is actually a pretty clean turn.
Yeah.
For a receiver, especially. Really, like I said, this is how this kid grew on me. Because at first I'm like, oh, okay, he's not real big. He's not super fast. He's a good athlete, but not an elite athlete. Then you start to get into the little parts of the game, and you're like, man, this kid knocks one dude down, goes and blocks another.
He's got some tenacity.
He does. Yeah. He's got some swagger. There's no doubt about it.
Which is so funny because he's like the most soft-spoken, nice kid ever, too, and then he does stuff like that. It's fantastic. Yep.
Because I heard he's a pretty quiet on visits, thoughtful kid. Somebody asked if Chris Olave is a fair. Alex Rohr asked, is Chris Olave a fair comparison?
Yeah, I don't think he's as fast as Olave, but I did kind of throw that comparison out a little bit earlier, just with his style of play. Yeah, I think just the craftiness and the nuance that he plays with. I think that's why he wins so much vertically in high school too, is the fact that he just understands how to set things up.
And I'll say this: we're gonna wrap up his film now, because I mean, this kid was incredibly productive.
Yep.
In high school as well. I mean, he was over 80 catches and over 1,000 yards, correct?
Yes. Yep.
If I remember correctly. So the production is certainly there.